Hello and welcome back to Robot Chaos Season 6. As you all can tell, this is the first season with actual live commentary from me, your favorite filming buddy, and of course, Chaotic Robotics.
Hello.
We've got some great fights for you this season. Complete Control aiming to defend that title, but of course, old champions, Snowblind, Behemoth, looking to reclaim their lost glory. So without further ado, let's get right back into it.
Looking at today's fight card, we're kicking it off with two rookies, Blip and Deadlift, followed by Kraken taking on Stingray. Sub-Zero against former champion Snowblind. Behemoth vs Tornado in a battle of some Robot Wars robots. Two more rookies with Rampage and Spirit of Taiwan, Hypershock and Orbee Blade. And then the main event of the current reigning champion, Complete Control, against last season's #1, Ocean Man. We'll also see a few more highlighted fights along the way.
Alright, so the tail of the tape from our first fight of Robot Chaos Season 6, we have the rear hinge flipper of Blip going up against Deadlift. Now, two lifter style robots. We're going to see how they work. They've never really been tested in an environment like this. I give the slight edge to Deadlift. I think that wedge can get lower, but you never know what Blip could do. I mean, it's Robot Chaos, so chaos is in the name. Let's get right into the fight. And the robots are off.
Here we go in the first fight of the season. Two rookies going at it.
Nice lift by Deadlift there. Very quick out of the box, both of them. See what happens. See what Deadlift can do with that lifting arm.
We'll have to see how Blip can do without those front wedges, because they end up breaking before the fight that we're not able to repair. That could be a downfall for them there if they're not able to get under Deadlift.
Some nice lifts by the back of the arena by Deadlift.
Oh, once again, Deadlift able to get under. We'll have to see if Blip can finally find the right angle.
Ooh, and a nice, and just right out of the arena.
Just like that, Blip. Very quick out of the arena flip, and this fight is already over.
Wow, yeah. I mean, Deadlift was just dominating the beginning of that fight, getting under Blip, just not able to get them all the way over with that flipper.
Yeah, we were saying how Blip's flipper might have had a few issues with getting Deadlift up on top of her, because Deadlift is a pretty big bot, and that's a pretty small flipper on Blip, but once they were able to find that spot that they needed, they were able to get them over to the wall of the arena and just flip them out.
Yeah, as you can see, look, Deadlift just over by the screws, just pummeling Blip with that lifting arm, but all it took was this one magical push by Blip, and the fight was over just like that.
Very good start to the season for Blip. Great first fight if you're a rookie. We'll have to see how Deadlift can recover, though. It's not how they want to start the season. Maybe they can fare better in their next fight. So going into our next fight, we have in the red square Kraken. This is their first season Robot Chaos. Of course, they are the grabber crusher robot from BattleBots. First season Robot Chaos, they have had a few test fights before this. One against Ocean Man where they held up very well. So they're definitely a strong robot, but we'll have to see how they can do against a flipper bot.
And in the blue square, of course, we have Stingray, a Robot Chaos veteran, 8-3 Robot Chaos record. Still has had very little postseason success, but let's see if that can change this year. With that flipper, I think it can get under Kraken a lot, and maybe even flip it out of the arena. But again, we shall see in this fight.
Yeah, I would have to give the slight edge definitely to Stingray on this one, because of course, while Kraken, they are very fast, this is still their first fight Robot Chaos, and I think it definitely could struggle in that case because they've never been in a fighting environment like this before.
Yeah, and I think that low wedge of Stingray is really going to help them get under and bully Kraken around the box, push him around, maybe even flip him over. But Kraken can self-right, so we shall see.
Yep. We'll go down to the box and see how these two robots fare, who can start 1-0, and who's going to be starting their season in a hole that they have to dig themselves out of.
And we're off.
Oh, and a very good first drive by Kraken into the wall.
That drive power of Kraken is really going to help him. But look at this. Stingray has got Kraken up off the ground and into the screws.
That was a perfect move there by Stingray. They definitely needed that after that first drive by Kraken. Very, very good start for both these robots so far.
Stingray already in there with a couple flips on Kraken. Kraken just easily able to roll back over, though.
Yeah, we'll have to see if Kraken is going to have any issues with that flipper, because they can suffer with that the whole match, then that flipper might not be as effective as we thought.
Ooh, and a nice push by Kraken into the screws with Stingray. Then Kraken just keeps rolling over.
Yeah, we'll have to see. If Stingray has had a few drive issues in the past because there are very, very small wheels on that robot, we'll have to see if eventually will they lose a little bit of drive or not.
Again, Stingray just bullying over and flipping over Kraken. Kraken just able to get right back up.
There's a nice backhand maneuver by Stingray. Or Kraken got them near the screws trying to get them in there, but doesn't look like they're going to be able to do it.
Very close fight so far. Kraken just able to push around Stingray, but Stingray able to just bully over Kraken on its back.
There's Kraken going up near the new shelf, but now Kraken trying to get the right angle, but once again they just got toppled over. Not affecting them, but it's definitely going to help with aggression points for Stingray if this fight does go to the judges.
Kraken around to the side of Stingray, couldn't do anything with it.
Once again, Kraken
over.
Just a lot of issues with wheeling with Kraken. See if they can fix that in the future.
Both robots by the screws, but they managed to drive away. Ooh, and Kraken almost out of the arena.
Oh, Kraken a bit closer once again, but we haven't seen a whole lot of action from that grabber. We'll have to see if they can get that into action. But now, Stingray seems to be a little bit stuck or high-centered on something.
Seems like Kraken's trying to free Stingray in an effort to be a good sport. Doesn't seem like that grabber is really powerful enough.
Could be getting a count out pretty soon if Stingray is not able to free themselves. But there we go, and Kraken actually getting a decent bite there. Stingray once again seems to just be not moving too great. Might be the new shelf giving them a few issues, but now Kraken too.
Both robots are stuck. I mean, we might be headed for a double knockout here.
I have to see if one of those robots can free themselves, and there we go. Stingray finally freeing themselves, trying to get a lift on Kraken. You get stuck, and there they go.
There we go.
Both robots free once again.
Kraken over on its back. Again, just not able to stay on those two wheels.
And there's another kind of half flip from Stingray. In terms of aggression, they've been doing fantastic. Oh, but there's a nice ram by Kraken. That's what they've been doing to start the fight. Did it again right there.
The judges are really going to have their hands full with this fight. Very close. Both robots being very aggressive, very controlling.
Yeah, we're getting into the last minute of this fight. Let's see if anyone can make a clear and decisive move that could help get the decision in their favor. But look at this, Kraken being picked up by Stingray's lifter and carried over the side of the box. And that is going to be the end of the fight. It looks like Kraken might have lost drive. We'll have to see how the judges score that.
Alright, here comes the replay. I mean, the fight was the same from beginning to end. Kraken just getting the occasional good drive, but Stingray just able to use that lifter to kind of bully them around the box.
Those teeth on Kraken ended up almost being an issue for them because of the amount of time the Stingray was able to hook onto them and push them around. Kraken was still, that speed definitely helped them a lot in this match, but I'm not sure it's going to be enough.
Yeah, I mean, the amount of times that Stingray had them in the screws and just up on their back, I would have to give the edge to Stingray, but you never know how the judges will see it.
Especially with that last move, they were picking up Kraken. Very strong way to end the fight, but let's see what the judges had to say. They were very close judges' decision. Stingray narrows out 8-7. Very close match, very well fought by both bots. So in our next fight, we have a battle of the snow robots. Of course, in the red square, we have a newcomer, Sub-Zero. They're not like the battle hunters, and this time they're a lifter instead of a flipper. But they have shown a lot of promise in some testing. A lot of people think this robot has the potential to be a contender for the championship, but it's still their first season, and they're going to have a lot to learn in this, so we'll have to see how they can do against a former champion.
And of course, we have the former champion, Snowblind, 24-6 in Robot Chaos. Quite possibly one of the most dominant robots we've ever had. Of course, it's never really had to fight a four-wheel drive lifter like this. We shall see how they turn out.
Yeah, I'm not sure who's going to take this one because on one hand, Sub-Zero is definitely going to be the faster bot because where Snowblind has tread, Sub-Zero has the very fast four-wheel drive. I think that if Sub-Zero can get to the sides and take off one of those treads, then it could potentially have the fight won, but we'll have to see if they're able to get in that position.
Never count out the former champ. You never know what they have up their sleeve.
And with that said, let's go down to the arena and see what these two bots have in store. See if the rookie can get the upset win over the first champion. Here we are in our next fight. Of course, Sub-Zero and Snowblind. Snowblind already showing its pushing power, getting him into screws.
Snowblind, of course, always very slow. Sub-Zero very fast out of the gate, but just can't seem to push him around, can't seem to get to the side of that wedge.
Yeah, almost a chance by Sub-Zero. There they go. They finally were able to get around to those treads, try to get them off, but those
pushing power of Snowblind, just able to bully Sub-Zero around the box.
Yeah, those wedges just aren't low enough, and one of them actually seems to be getting loose, but there goes a tread!
This could be a big swing in this fight. Sub-Zero might be able to get a nice upset if they're able to just get around to Snowblind.
Yeah, but there goes one of their wedgelets. They're still going to have to be able to get underneath that front wedge, and we've seen before, tracked robots, they still do very well. Oh, there's a nice flip. They still do very well even when they're missing one of their wedges. Oh.
Sub-Zero seems to be stuck up on that new shelf. Snowblind trying to be a good sport and free it.
There they go. I mean, we've seen bots like Reaper who have, even when they're down one tread, they've still been able to win a lot of fights. We'll have to see if Snowblind can do the same.
Especially with the former champ, I'd never count him out. They're still able to push around Sub-Zero a little bit, but Sub-Zero definitely able to engage that lifter a little bit.
Oh! And the trap door was pushed by Snowblind earlier, and just like that, Snowblind is out.
Wow.
I mean, Sub-Zero is out.
Alright, so here we are in the replays. Of course, Sub-Zero showing some promise in this fight, able to get around the Snowblind, something most robots can't say.
Yeah, it was a big change in pace in the middle once we saw that tread come off. We were like, wow, okay, Snowblind potentially could be in danger here. Start the season 0-1, another good lift there, but...
Yeah, I mean, all it takes is that one moment, and they were gone.
Very weird end of the fight, but very good start to the season for Snowblind.
Alright, coming into our next fight, we have two Robot Wars robots. Of course, the Rookie and Tornado looking to upset Behemoth. Tornado, tiny little spinner, can't really do much, but it does have some good push, so we should watch for that in this fight.
And of course, Behemoth, they have been one of the more successful robots in the season. Not as successful as Snowblind, but they have had 2 titles to their name, of course, in Season 2 and Season 4. Didn't do the best in Season 5, only going 1-3. Have to see if they're able to start the season off well and potentially get their championship title back.
I would give the edge in this fight to Behemoth, of course. With that lower wedge and just the sheer Robot Chaos experience, I would say it'd be very hard for Tornado to pull off this upset.
I could see Tornado potentially starting the match pretty well because I think their pushing power will definitely be very effective against Behemoth, but I think it's a matter of time until Behemoth eventually gets the flip they need because Tornado does not drive upside down very well, which I think is going to be the difference maker in this fight.
All it takes is that one moment to change the momentum of the entire fight. So, with that said, let's go down into the box. And the bots are off.
Like we said, of course, Behemoth just needs one flip to potentially end this fight. They almost get it there, but there's a good ram by Tornado, that pushing power we talked about.
Tornado looked a little bit wonky out of the box, but it seemed they dialed it in a little bit, and a nice ram. Wow.
A perfect ram, and that might be it already.
Behemoth already on its side, being pushed up against the wall. Are we going to see an upset?
They're not going to be able to self-right from there. This fight is going to be over, and yes, Tornado has gotten the win.
Wow. I'm shocked. That was a crazy fast knockout.
That was extremely impressive performance there by a rookie robot against one of the 2-time champions.
Yeah, I mean, as you can see, Behemoth with that nice flip at the beginning, but then as soon as that ended, Tornado was just able to get right under that lifting arm, push him around the box, and eventually get him over the screws.
Yeah, very good use of the arena hazards there by Tornado. They were able to recognize what they needed to do, and as soon as Behemoth mistimed that flip, they would just rush in and topple them over, and just like that, the former champion already in a very bad start to the season.
Alright, in our next fight, we have Rampage going up against Spirit of Taiwan, 2 rookie robots. Rampage with that nice solid front wedge, one of the strongest in the field and some decent pushing power. I mean, I think it all comes down to who has the lower wedge. What do you think?
Yeah, looking at Spirit of Taiwan, the blue square, of course, this is also their rookie season. They're a hinged wedge, but supposedly, if it can get a robot up on top there and ram into the wall, it could potentially topple robots. We'll have to see how well it can do there. This is definitely going to be a very interesting fight because, of course, 2 rookie robots, we don't really know what to expect from them yet. Have to see how they do in this first season. I think I would give a slight edge to Rampage because, unlike Spirit of Taiwan, they actually have a spinner, which I think is going to help them in the damage category if this fight could end up going to the judges.
I think that active weapon, yeah, like you said, is definitely going to help them if this fight ends up going the distance. But if Spirit of Taiwan can get that perfect ram, just like we saw with Blip earlier in the episode, you never know what could happen.
Yeah, definitely going to be an interesting fight to see. Hopefully both these robots can start their season off well, but we'll have to see how they perform in this match. It could be very telling for how their season is going to play out.
Yeah, and with that said, let's get right down into the fight.
Here we are in the next fight with two more rookie bots immediately both clashing in the middle of the arena.
A nice stalemate by those two wedges, none really being much lower than the other.
See, and oh, there we go. Rampage getting a little bit to the back of Spirit Taiwan. Seems like Spirit Taiwan might be having a few control issues.
Yeah, Rampage seems to be stuck on that pit door, but Spirit of Taiwan doesn't seem to be able to open the pit.
Have to see how this match plays out. Very slow start for both of them, but there's a nice little ram from Spirit of Taiwan, but we'll have to see if they can actually get Rampage up on that hinged wedge. And ooh, nice ram there. Got Spirit of Taiwan stuck in the back.
Rampage definitely seems to be moving better than Spirit of Taiwan. Oh, and again, up on its side by that shelf.
Have to see if one of those robots could potentially use the shelf to bring the other robot up and out of the arena. Right now, it seems that, yeah, definitely Rampage seems to be having a bit better of drive right now. It seems like Spirit of Taiwan a little bit all over the place right now.
Yeah, Rampage just driving much better than Spirit of Taiwan, able to just get to the back and oh, flipped over just like that, and that's going to be the fight.
That's definitely going to be the fight. A very good ram there from Rampage. So that's a great start to their season, and yep, that is going to be it. Rampage will start their season off 1-0.
And we'll see how Spirit of Taiwan can recover. I mean, it's never good when you go 0-1 your first season.
So looking back at these replays, like we said, it seemed to be pretty even at the start, but eventually Rampage started to get the attacks that they needed. They got them nice against the wall. You can see kind of the actuation of that hinged wedge of Spirit of Taiwan, but they really just weren't able to get the right purchase that they needed to flip Rampager.
And there you go. There's that beautiful use of the screws by Rampage in order to get Spirit of Taiwan over, and they will take the W.
Yeah, second match in a row where the screws have played a large role. Great start of the season for Rampage, though. Have to see how they can do in their next fight. So in our next fight in the red square, we have Hypershock. They were a second place finisher in Season 3, but in Season 4 they didn't really do super well. They ended up going 1-2 and ended up missing the postseason, and they missed out on Season 5. We'll have to see how the former second place finisher can recover against another very yellow robot.
I mean, Orbee Blade with that very strong back wedge. Of course, they're a rookie, so they got some problems to iron out. But a very strong weapon and a very strong wedge could give Hypershock some problems. How do you think this fight will turn out?
I think it's going to be a pretty even fight between both. I think both going in, we have one, of course, a horizontal, one a vertical drum. I think I have to give a slight edge to Hypershock because they've had experience and they've also beaten some horizontals in the past. But I think if in a wedge-on-wedge match, Orbee Blade could win that because Hypershock has had a few issues with their wedge in the past.
I think it's all going to come down to the performance of the blade, of Orbee Blade. Will it be able to just smack around Hypershock enough in order to knock something loose in there, or will Hypershock just be able to capitalize with that big front wedge?
Yeah, we'll have to see how these two bots fare in this match. Can Orbee Blade upset one of the veterans of Robot Chaos, or will Hypershock start their season 1-0?
And the bots are off. Orbee Blade getting up to speed, spinning around in the middle of the arena.
Here you'll see if Hypershock can get a nice ram in. First, they have a bit of improved speed from last time, and there they go. A nice little push and a nice bite there on Orbee Blade.
Orbee Blade having some drive issues, seems to be spinning in circles. Can they get that nice hit that they need on the side of Hypershock?
Yeah, definitely. Hypershock, I think, is winning the speed by a little bit. And oh, but there's a nice ram, and Hypershock seems to be high center. There's another one. There's the blade of Orbee Blade getting into place.
Some great hits by Orbee Blade. Seems to be stuck on the shelf.
Oh, but so is Hypershock now.
Are the officials going to pause the fight to free the robots?
Yes, they will. Just like the fight's going to continue. Orbee Blade trying to get up to speed. Nice little bite there on the front of Hypershock.
Seems Hypershock might have knocked that blade loose, and
Oh, but Hypershock has stopped working. Orbee Blade has lost their weapon, but Hypershock looks like they've been stunned. Something must have been knocked loose there by Orbee Blade.
Is there going to be a count out?
Looks like that's going to be the fight, actually. Hypershock has been knocked out by Orbee Blade. No idea what just happened there, but Orbee Blade's going to start the season 1-0. Let's see what happened here. It looks like they just randomly stopped. Nothing really else happened.
Yeah, well, Hypershock was dominating this fight at the beginning, I thought. Orbee Blade able to get a couple good hits in, but Hypershock able to use that front wedge to absorb some hits.
But eventually, Orbee Blade did get their spinner working, and they landed a few nice hits, and then after they got unstuck, Hypershock just stopped, even though they were having a very good start to the fight. You can see, looks like them going back and forth a little bit, then just not moving at all.
Yeah, well, you never know what will happen in these fights, but it looks like it's a great start for Orbee Blade.
So now we're going to look at some of the highlighted fights that didn't make the cut to be in this episode. First up, we had Nuts taking on Endgame. We had Endgame be a reserve robot that took their spot in the season after Shocker wasn't able to join in. It was a very good start by Endgame. They were able to get a lot of nice shots on to Nuts, but eventually Endgame got high-centered on part of the arena, and because they were not able to free themselves, then Nuts took a very surprising first-round victory. Have to see if they can recover from that in their next matches. Going to our next fight, we had Bot of Italy take on Pizza Time in the Battle for Italia. It was a very, very tentative start, but eventually Bot of Italy did get a flip that they needed to topple over Pizza Time. Pizza Time was able to get out of that, though, and the fight continued. Pizza Time was able to get in a few nice rams to try and get Bot of Italy into the screws, but Bot of Italy was doing very well with getting some nice half flips onto Pizza Time. And in the end, it was a very, very close judge's decision between the two of them. But in the end, it was Bot of Italy who ended up squeaking out a very narrow judge's decision with aggression and damage, helping them win the fight. And with that being said, let's get into our main event match. So, getting into our main event match, of course, in the red square, we have the reigning champion, Complete Control. It was a very surprising run for them last season. They had not had a single win until last season when they went 6 straight victories all the way en route to a championship, but one of the worst possible opponents I think they could have fought in their first match is the most powerful spinner we have.
Of course, we're talking about Ocean Man, 7-3 in Robot Chaos, just tearing through the competition. Might not be the most reliable robot, but it is the most damaging robot we have seen in this box. And Complete Control really needs to avoid getting those arms and that armor torn off, because if it does, it's an easy Ocean Man victory.
Yeah, I think this will definitely be a very, very close match, and because we have two very different style robots. Of course, we have the lifter and the flipper, and it's just, do you see Complete Control getting the flip it needs first, or do you see Open Man just completely tearing apart Complete Control first?
I think it could go either way, and I think the first collision between these two robots is going to decide it all. If Complete Control can manage to get under Ocean Man and flip it over, Ocean Man is done for. But if Ocean Man even gets one good hit on Complete Control, I think that's the fight.
Yep. Let's go down and see who wins this battle of two very strong opponents. And here we are in the main event match, both robots converging in the center of the arena trying to get a better purchase on one another.
Ocean Man trying to get some nice pops, but just unable to, but there's a little bit.
Yeah.
Not really what we're used to seeing from Ocean Man.
Yeah, it might take them a little bit to get used to that very slope shape of Complete Control. They're going to have to find the right kind of angle to get those hits in.
Yeah, it's going to be very hard with those slope sides. Ocean Man just needs one nice jab to the bottom of Complete Control to just knock it out.
Oh, but there you go. Now they have him at the side, and they're very close, and there goes...
Wow!
There goes the lifter of Complete Control, and that could have just ended the fight right there.
I mean, that renders their lifter almost entirely useless, so that definitely turned the tide of this fight. Let's see if Ocean Man can capitalize.
Yeah, there's really nothing left that Complete Control can do, because without that lifter, they can't flip, they can't really do anything. They kind of just have to keep slamming themselves into Ocean Man, hope they can get something loose, but they're seeming to be a little bit stuck right now.
Yeah, wow, Ocean Man, that one hit just completely changed the fight for them. Let's see if they can do anything. The sheer pushing power of Ocean Man even rivals that of Complete Control, so let's see if they can cause any more damage.
Yeah, we're used to seeing Complete Control just always in complete control of their opponents last season, but so far this is just very different for them. We'll have to see what they can do here.
Ocean Man's still relatively unable to do anything other than that one hit.
There was a nice
Ice
little
ankle.
bite, and it looks like they got a nice little dent on the back of complete control. That's what they needed. But so far, they really just, this is their fight to lose. If they can just stick with what they're doing right now, I don't see how they would lose the judge's decision.
Complete control jamming the top of that lifter arm right into the spinner. I don't know if they're trying to jam it up or not, but it doesn't seem to be working very well.
Yeah, and you can see in the front, it looks like another part of complete control close to falling off their stabilizer. Of course, not much of a purpose when you don't have a lifter, but it looks like they're going to have quite a bit of a rebuild if Ocean Man just continues to chew up the front of that robot.
There we see them freeing themselves from that shelf, but it doesn't seem like they can do much. Like trying to go into Ocean Man with the back of their bot, just unable to phase him.
Yeah, and also, of course, with those new wedges on Ocean Man, Complete Control really doesn't have a chance to possibly try to use the spinner's power against it because they're just always the robot getting underneath.
Both robots by the pit button. No one seems to want to press it. Ooh, but there goes the stabilizer.
Yep,
on
there goes the
Complete Control.
stabilizer. Now, Ocean Man basically just tearing into the front of Complete Control. Looks like part of their side armor panels is a little bit warped and out of shape from that spinner.
Ocean Man is going to be very dangerous this year. I can't wait to see what they end up tearing apart next, but it seems like they're just completely making Complete Control useless, and now they're just a box.
Yeah, I mean, this isn't the most destructive win that I think we're going to see from Ocean Man, but it's still a very strong start to their season. We'll have to see what they can do next, and it looks like this is going to be the fight. Great showing for Ocean Man. Very poor showing for Complete Control, though, from the defending champion.
I'm very surprised Complete Control was able to go the distance after losing the arm so early, but Ocean Man couldn't get that knockout blow, and Complete Control was able to survive. So the champ showing some good durability, but will they be able to bounce back?
Yeah, just looking back, there were not too many big hits, but the one like there, that's where they were able to really just get the damage points that they needed after they knocked off that flipper. Of course, Complete Control, I don't really know what you could give them in this judge's decision. Just completely outmatched by Ocean Man. Very poor start. We'll have to see if they can bounce back and avoid an 0-2 start, which would pretty much doom their chances at the postseason.
Definitely a very one-sided win.
And there we have it. Only 2 points for Complete Control, but 13 for Ocean Man. Fantastic start to their season. We'll have to see if they can capitalize later on. So looking back tonight, we had some very, very promising showings from a few rookie robots. Of course, some of them still lost, but there were some victories by both like Blip and Rampage. And looking back, we also had some former champions fall and some thrive. Of course, Behemoth lost and Snowblind took a victory. It's going to be very interesting to see how some of these robots play out in their later matches. Of course, great start for some robots. Ocean Man looking very dangerous this season. We'll have to see if they can finally get that title that they've been looking for. So thank you guys so much for watching, and we will see you next time.
Like and subscribe.
Why did you say that?